Hey guys, I'm Dr. Real. You just heard me speak a little while ago about our flu simulation. So we're going to give you a little bit more details about the simulation and show you an example here today. So again, we found that we had pretty high rates of flu refusal here at the PPC clinic. So we wanted to give our residents an opportunity to practice talking with families about the flu shot. So here is our setup that we have right here. So as I mentioned during the talk, we use the Oculus Rift headset to deliver this education. Okay, so let's take you into our virtual clinic space. So here we have two screens. So the laptop on the left is our control screen, so I'll explain that in a moment. But just put your attention to the screen to the right. So that's our virtual clinic. So the cool thing about our clinic is it actually replicates many of the posters, the location of the patient bed, the computer that you would expect in a typical room at the pediatric primary care clinic. So, and you can see, you can go ahead and look around in all directions. And you can look up, and you can look down. So the feedback we got from residents is that they felt very immersed in this environment, again, because we spend a lot of time making it look exactly like a typical patient room in the PPC clinic. So let's talk a little bit more about the avatars. So an avatar, so that's a graphical character representative. So that is the individual in the middle of the screen on the right. We built our avatars based on common caregiver demographics that we see here in clinic. In terms of the controls, so that is the screen here on the left. We can control both the verbal and the nonverbal language of the avatar. So from a nonverbal standpoint, there are 4 different poses that avatars can assume. So here's some finger tapping. So this is more of a angry type pose. We have one that's a little bit more disinterested. Here's a neutral pose. And then finally we have an interested pose, so leaning forward, making good eye contact with the user. So as learners go through the simulation, they'll see the body language of the avatar change from a more disinterested or hostile type of presentation to a more interested and engaged version. So we also controlled the language for the avatars. So for example, we'll give a case to our learners and then there'll be some initial hesitation about the flu shot.
We'll pass on the flu shot for today.
And you can see the avatar on the right screen here that we synchronize the facial.
He's not getting the flu shot.
We synchronize the facial and mouth movements, again, to make for a realistic experience for learners. So the goal eventually is that the resident builds up trust and
he's not going to like it, but let's give him a flu shot today.
And they'll get the family to agree to doing the flu shot. So why don't we show you an example next of how this actually works. Okay everyone, so now we're going to actually show you how this flu simulation works. Alright, so you can go ahead and put the headset on. And as a first step, you can just go ahead and get oriented to the space. So you'll see you can look in all directions, you can look, side to side, you can look up and down. Does it remind you a bit of the PPC?
It sure does.
Feeling oriented?
Yes.
All right, great. So here in front of you is your avatar, okay? So this is going to be the parent of a patient you're seeing here in clinic. So let me give you a quick case. So let's say you just saw a 9-month-old. It was for a checkup. Everything went really well. You just realized that since he's over 6 months old, he can get the flu shot. So you're going to run back in the room and talk with mom about the shot.
Okay.
So whenever you're ready, feel free to talk with mom about the flu shot.
So Mom, we didn't talk about giving your son a flu shot today. He's eligible. We should do it.
We'll pass on the flu shot for today.
Oh no? I'm sad to hear you say that. What is it about the flu shot that makes you feel nervous?
I don't think the flu shot works.
I understand, and I empathize. Is there a particular experience that you had, you or your family, somebody didn't have a good time with the flu shot before?
His brother had the flu shot last year and he still got the flu.
I see. if you can just suspend your decision for just a minute, I'm going to make 2 quick points before you decide. The first is that the flu shot takes some time to get full immunity after giving the shot. Unfortunately, some kids do get exposed to the flu within the first couple of weeks of getting the shot, and they are at risk of still getting the flu disease. The best way to protect him is to give him the flu shot as early as possible. I think today is a great day. And the second thing I wanted to tell you was that unfortunately some kids do get exposed to the flu later after they've gotten the shot, but they typically, if they are going to get the disease, have a very mild course, and it's much better than if they hadn't gotten the shot at all. That might have been what happened to your other son, his brother.
He doesn't really need it, does he?
I think that he does. I think this is the best way, given the shot, to protect your son against the flu disease, which can be very, very severe in his age group. I think it's definitely needed.
You're right. I don't want him to get sick. He's not going to like it, but let's give him his flu shot today.
That's great. Let's do it.
All right, perfect. You can go ahead and take the headset off for a second, Rebecca. So at this point in the simulation, what we'll do is we'll give the learner some feedback. So Rebecca, what do you think went well about that experience?
Well, I think Mom was able to tell me exactly her concerns, and I was able to give good reasons and convince her in the end to get the flu shot.
Yeah, absolutely. So I think you did a number of things that have been shown to be effective when it comes to vaccine counseling. So you asked some open-ended questioning to really get to Mom's source of discomfort about the flu shot. You were reflected on her patient statements, and you were empathetic in your counseling. You gave some great education. You didn't use a ton of medical jargon, which I think is really important as well. So nice job. So why don't we do another case? Okay. So let's say this time you're seeing a 2-year-old. This patient has a history of wheezing. Again, it was a checkup, everything went really well, but then you just remembered about the flu shot. So you can go ahead back in and talk with Mom about the shot.
Okay.
So whenever you're ready, feel free to go ahead.
So Mom, we didn't talk about giving your son the flu shot today.
No way. He's not getting the flu shot.
Really? I think the flu shot's very important.
I'm not so sure.
You know, he really should get the flu shot today.
I still really don't know.
It's generally what's recommended. He's supposed to get the flu shot.
Can I think about it more?
Yes, that's okay.
Okay, you can go ahead and take the headset off. So what do you think went well about that experience?
I think that Mom was very resistant to the flu shot, even in her son who needed it most.
Yeah, so I think that there are probably a couple things you could have tried. Like with the last case, asking open-ended questions, I think is a great way to really get to the source of hesitation about the flu shot. And then thinking about, the patient's comments and being empathetic in your counseling. And then once you've kind of narrowed in on the reason for why they're hesitant about the flu shot, then you can really target your education to the families and try and limit the amount of medical jargon. Okay. So why don't we try that one again and see how it goes.